to that ordinance, is there a fine attached
That is
to?
part of what we're going to fix.
Okay.
We think it's $100. But
Ton?
no,
There you go.
no,
Per ton violated, yeah.
But the signs are okay at this point. We do have one in the city on Old Porter Road, I believe, or Portage Avenue at 8 tons. That's the only sign we've found, I believe Randy has found in the city. So that is the first announcement. And the second announcement is that a longtime serving member of the city council, Ed Gotchling, we had a park bench dedicated to him with help with councilperson Lynch and superintendent of streets Steve and superintendent of parks Jenny to put that bench, and it's now permanently installed at Founders, looking upon the amphitheater where we think Ed would have liked to sit there and
Nice.
look down. So I just want to let you know that is down there. So go check it out. I want to thank Sue and Steve and Jenny, and of course Ed's family for helping us with all that. So, all righty. Receptions of petitions and memorials. Do we have any? I don't see. Yeah, I'll get to it. Just before the clerk treasurer's report, so we can delay him a little bit. Pastor Mike, I believe you're here to give us a prayer. I appreciate that.
All right, let's pray. Amen. Father, we just thank you tonight for our city. We thank you for your hand of favor and blessing that's on this city and on its people, on the leaders that are here tonight, our mayor, this council. We thank you for their service to the community, and we just pray, God, that you will direct each and every one, direct this meeting tonight, direct the future of this city, God, as we look to you. We lean on you for wisdom and understanding and how to serve and how to meet the needs that are around us. And I just pray, God, that you will continue to bless and lift up every leader, provide for their families and protect them. We pray for our first responders, God, that your hand will be upon them continually as they watch out for this city. We just give you praise and thank you for each one tonight. We just give you thanksgiving for what you're doing in our city and in our lives. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Sir. Clerk treasurer's report.
We're waiting on our tax draw, so that should come possibly this week. I'm guessing more likely next week, and that'll be our big indicator. Make sure we don't expect any surprises, that property taxes are in line. And then working with the budget committee once they reschedule their meeting to review budgets. Been meeting with the mayor and several department heads about, we're at that mid-year point where some budgets are starting to get tight. And so everyone's got to work together to address those, and we will.
Just a question, Chris, not to put you on the spot, but there are a number of items that came into Dropbox. And what's your recommendation in terms of reviewing those items, and is there anything that specifically we should be looking for?
Yeah, I thought this was probably a more convenient place than putting them in there's a whole separate section of Dropbox about finance, but like Liz was showing me a couple of weeks ago or a month ago that she was having a hard time. So I thought, well, why don't we just put it in our monthly meeting folder? So I think there's a fund revenue and appropriation report.
Yes.
If you want to, can I steal your appropriation report? Sure. The appropriation report is the longest one. It's the one that looks like this. Most of you already know it. If you want to look through that one, and you'll notice the very last column has a percentage left, percentage remaining amount. If you kind of look through there at amounts that are under 50%, let's say, then that would be a pretty good indication of maybe line items that are in need of attention. Now, obviously, you'll have to look at the line item because, for instance, work comp is going to be at 0% remaining because it's a one-time payment. But if things like fuel is at 40% remaining and we've got 7 months left, then that would be a warning sign. So look through that. The department heads, I believe, are all aware, as is the mayor's office, of any issues. And so I know they're they're working on as much as they can. Ultimately, it will come to the council, however, because, the department head, they can only look at their department budget. And if money's gonna have to be transferred from elsewhere in the city budget, then it has to obviously come before the budget committee and the city council.
That'll be something then that the budget committee will look at very, very closely. And look at those line items that are less than 50% and obviously have some discussion in regard to that situation.
Sure.
Good.
Thanks for that, Chris.
Yeah.
All righty.
Can I ask the clerk treasurer, how is the new payment system working for the sewer bills? Because somebody called me and said they couldn't get hooked up. Now, I got hooked up for, them taking it out every month automatically. I didn't have a problem, but other people are seeming to have a problem.
Yeah, so the new transition is going as well as any transition can go, I suppose. We had a hiccup with the printer who sent the first round of bills out with a message saying, look on the bill for your code to sign up online, but it didn't actually have a code. So that was the printer's mistake at their cost, not the city's cost. They sent out a second round of bills with a letter explaining why you're getting a second bill that did have your code. So that has worked for folks. There are some people that just aren't as tech advanced as others. So we always just encourage them, give the office a call. We can actually set them up over the phone and walk them through it. So if there's any that have questions, always feel free to call the office, the number on the bill, and we can help set them up. But
I think
adoption
what happened
has,
to the couple people that called me is they were using the code from the first bill.
the first bill had no code, and that was the problem.
Well,
Yeah.
it's your invoice number.
Right, right,
Yeah, and I think they were
yes.
using that.
Yeah, so absolutely. And we can reissue the code over the phone. We can also, like I said, just set them up over the phone. So call in and we can help. Adoption has been much better than we expected. It's been quicker than expected. People are liking the new system. They like that it's in real time. So if they make a payment on the counter, they can go online and see the payment reflected immediately, as opposed to before they had to wait till the next month. And so if a charge comes on there from garbage pickup or whatever, it all happens in real time. So
See, I think the people that called me were looking and it wasn't reflecting their payment.
Right.
So I said, you did something wrong, but you can't ask me because I'm not that familiar with the system.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, good question.
All right, reports from city officials. We can start off with Chief Troy Williams, Police.
How we doing tonight?
Good.
Fine, Chief.
Good. I got a few things. Just to let you know, if you didn't already know, Justin, our IT rep, is on vacation this week, so if you needed him, you need to make an online request through the company. He's not at the building this week. I talked to a few of you via email, Mark, a couple months ago about the solar-powered speed signs. We did some checking, and they're a little more than I thought they were, like $4,500 to $5,000. So a little kind of cost prohibitive. So those would be helpful, but a little expensive. Let's see. Code enforcement doesn't always get to the things that they need. I mean, they have to deal with a lot. I think the way it's set up now is being housed out of our building is working out really well, and then having that other full-time officer. So I just wanted to give you an update. So we had a resident from Grant Street reach out and said, hey, we made this report before. We don't think anything's been happening. We'd like to have it looked at again. So we got with code enforcement, hey, can you go check this out? So he went and talked to him, gave him the weekend to get it taken care of, and then got an email from the resident, and basically said, I want to really thank you for helping us out getting this property cleaned up. As you can see, the picture looks great. Not only me, but everyone on the block has made comment today on how nice it looks. Again, thank you for your time and code enforcement's efforts, and we hope it stays that way. So kudos to them. Again, I think it's working the way it's supposed to. They go out and have a conversation, give them a chance to correct it, and then if not, take enforcement. June 22nd, I think you've all heard of the MAC Center out in Belleville. They have what they're going to hold is called a thrill show. I like to call it a capabilities exercise. Many departments across the region, us included, are participating in that. And we're going to do a demonstration on, a live assault on a vehicle and extracting somebody, and there'll be people showing how to rappel, there'll be firefighters, I'm sure our fire departments will be there doing their things, the K9 units, I think might even have a helicopter, so kind of like the National Night Out, but a little bit bigger scale, more departments being involved, so if you get a chance to check it out, I believe it's a new.
What time, noon?
I believe it's a new, but we'll put something out there.
Yeah.
June
If we
22nd.
could get the address too,
Yep.
yeah, that'd be helpful. Thank you.
Let's see, we had 2 recent openings, in the departments. We have, 3 on our hiring list, the first 2 were given packets to, start the process, so they gotta go, physical, doctor's eval, those types of things, so assuming that gets done, they'll bring it back to us, and then we'll talk about bringing somebody on, to fill those 2 spots. We have 2 on workman's comp, 1 on major illness. And then, for the month of May, we had over 3,200 calls for service and, approximately 500 reports taken. So that's the kind of activity level that our officers are, working at, and that was May. I'd say these last 2 things, just because I think they needed the attention, standalone. So you probably read in the paper or online, we had the incident at Mexico Lindo the other night where a guy had a verbal argument, pulled out a gun. And then we had a shooting today over in Camelot Manor, and it's a drug aspect, there were drugs involved. Our officers responded, flooded the area. Officer Trent Howard located the suspect in a vehicle, got it stopped and apprehended. So, 2 big calls involving guns. Nobody, was, hurt by us. None of our officers were hurt, other than the guy that was shot in the foot today. Nobody else sustained injury. The one in Camelot was pretty reckless. The guy fired into a mobile home and it went through 2 other mobile homes.
Wow.
So thankfully, nobody else was hurt, but, and that was an isolated incident. It's not something that, is going around.
Sure.
But it was important to mention just to know that the work that the officers are out there doing. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention. Yeah, good work by police, dispatch, EMS, so very thankful. Anything from me? Appreciate it.
Thanks,
Good
Troy.
work, Troy. Chief. The officers are safe.
Thank you.
Chief Tim Sosby. Fire.
As usual, I do have some reports printed out for you guys. Call volume. Take one and pass it down. Sure. Is everybody doing this evening? It's nice weather finally, yeah?
Finally.
All right, I'll talk about it since Chief Williams talked about it a little bit, the MAC Center. Yeah, we will be participating in that as well, several fire departments from around the county. We are also tomorrow participating in a live fire training there that's pretty specific to Portage Fire Department. We got about 15 of our people going there, doing some flashover training. It's also being trained by the class is being conducted by our personnel as well. So we're getting some live fire training there, so it's pretty hard to come by nowadays. The report that you have there, we had 377 calls for the month. It comes out to a little over 12 calls a day. We've also logged a total of 425 man-hours of training during that month, which is really pretty good because, as we all know, we really weren't able to get outside a lot. And typically the outside training is a little bit longer than some of the inside training. So that's a pretty good number. We're pretty proud of that. We can expect that number to at least be the same every year or every month, if not higher. Any questions on our report there? Again, this is just for the month of May. Next month I will have a semi-annual report along with a monthly report as well, so you can see where we're at.
Just a quick question, Chief. Is it possible, I don't know, to like show the prior year's numbers for the same month on the report? Are you able to do that?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. I think it would be helpful just to compare it, yeah.
Okay, sure. Definitely do that. let's go back a couple of years or so, or the prior year, or?
Prior year or prior 2 years, if possible, yeah.
Another thing we kind of participated in a lot on top of the training and going on calls. This is the end of the school year, so for some reason, all the kids like to come see the firefighters at the end of the school year. So we like it, we enjoy it. So we've had a lot of tours. We've gone to a lot of standbys, a lot of field days and things like that. So there's been quite a few standbys there as well. So, and this is typically the time of year for it, the summertime, so I'm sure we'll have a lot more activities there. We do have our awards ceremony coming up, June 14th. I will be sending out invites to all of you tomorrow. It will be at our fire station 3, and it'll be at 6 o'clock. It generally lasts about an hour long. A few new things going on this year. We're actually going to recognize a couple of police officers that were instrumental in saving or helping to contribute to save somebody's life before we get there. One of which is our very own Randy Wilkeny. So we'll be there to help present that as well. So again, you'll get the invite. We hope to see you all there, and it should take no longer than an hour. So, we also will recognize our people that have been there for 20 years and earned service medals and things like that. So, usually a pretty good event. And really just kind of one other thing we got, unless you have some questions for me, we are processing a new person. He is going to be starting June 17th. His name is Tyler Rosenbaum. He will go on a week of days there, and then he'll be assigned to a shift shortly thereafter. He's replacing the gentleman that I said went to the Air Force Special Forces last month or a couple months ago. So we're finally getting him on board. He'll start with us June 17th. So, any questions?
Great. Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Tim.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Chief. Andy, Economic Development Director.
Hi.
Just a few updates. Last week, I know Sue was there, I don't know if others were able to make it. Be Nutty had their ribbon cutting and grand opening, which was a pretty exciting event. That's just a tremendous company. Since moving to Portage and being able to open that new facility, they've already more than doubled their business because they can keep up with production. They're gaining a lot of national distribution, and there's room in there for expansion. So they're already looking at, they've got one line right now. They've got room to add a couple of more, and the anticipation is they're just going to continue to grow. So we're really proud that they chose Portage to locate. They're just a great company. If you're ever out in the Ameriplex, hop in and see them. They're just wonderful people. They'll be happy to give you the quick tour and see what they do. But it's exciting to have a company like that in Portage. So it was good to see them finally get up and running. Other one, Gelnex, as you remember, the collagen. They finally got through some of their final processes now, be able to pull permits. So you'll start seeing construction on that. They're located, if you remember, right across the street from Cronius, on the corner of Cronius Avenue and Lewis Sullivan Drive on that corner. So you'll start to see that activity if you go back there. Their construction. Power Sources started their construction, so they're, again, had some hiccups with getting their permitting, and but we were able to get through all of that, get them in the right direction, so they're up and going. We presented a company last night to the Plan Commission, just kind of, because there's a zoning change. It's one of these weird properties that has two different zonings on the same property. It's a property kind of behind Denny's. So it's got some frontage on Route 20, some frontage on Chrisman Road, and then there's a big acreage in the back. Just a tremendous company looking to come here. We got favorable on that zoning change from the Plan Commission last time, not officially, so probably next month we'll get through the BZA. We'll probably be here with them for that zoning change, and hopefully we'll get information to you so you have time to look at that. But a great company. It's a trucking-based business. It's a distribution as well as a service center. They handle warranty work for all the major manufacturers, the big trucks, semi-trucks. There's not a lot of truck activity there, like a truck stop or even like Maverick. It's a little bit lower key than that. But it'll be 50 new jobs. Half of them will be mechanics, which are all union. They've already committed to build union. They're not going to come to the city and ask for any incentives. They kind of want to do this on their own. They're well funded. They're a national company. They got other locations. So I think you're going to be really like to see them. So I'm anxious to be able to bring those forward to you.
What
And then-
intersection was that again, you said that?
It's behind Benny's. It's on Christmas and 20. So it's kind of back in there. If you look, there's a lot of acreage back there. If you go down Christmas, you'll see frontage.
Yeah.
Like almost across the street from Dunkin' Donuts, and then on 20, you'll see there's a little bit of frontage on the other side of Denny's and the hotel there.
Right.
So it's that acreage that's all back in there. So when you'll see their plan, they've got a really good plan on how to use that property, and it's really it's difficult property to use because all the acreage is in the back.
Yeah.
It's kind of hidden, so it's gonna take a unique type of company to want to do something there, but this is a good one, so I'm anxious to be able to bring that one and keep moving them forward as they are considering Portage. And then finally, I just want to give you an update. So last month we wrapped up our third Healthcare 360 through the Portage EDC. Extremely successful. These are getting better and better all the time. And part of it's because the school counselors are really starting to understand the program. The kids are starting to talk about it and know about the program. So we're getting the right kind of kids now. It was very good. It was very hands-on. We visited 3 healthcare facilities with the kids over a day and a half period of time where they got in and really got to understand all the different aspects of jobs within the healthcare industry, not just doctors and nurses, but again, from mechanical jobs to computer jobs to just everything you can think of. There's 20-some different types of jobs in these healthcare facilities. And so these kids, these are the right kids. These are kids that some may have some college interest, but they all want to do something within the healthcare industry. And we got great feedback from them. We also followed that up with a trip to Ivy Tech like we usually do. And then we had a parents meeting, and we've been trying to do that with the parents at the end so they can understand what their kids did, because high school kids don't usually generally tell their parents some of these activities. Would be really fun. I think it's important for the parents to understand there are other options than a 4-year college right here. And we had a great turnout for that, and a great response. So we're really excited about that. We're looking at the Manufacturing 360 this fall to do it with the trade unions. We've been doing some talks with the trades. There's a lot of opportunities for apprenticeships right here in Portage. They're begging for kids and people, so we're going to kind of gear that one as opposed to going out and visiting the manufacturers and maybe doing something with the trades. So we think that would really be beneficial for our kids to get them really good jobs to get them to stay here.
I was talking to a gentleman on that line of thinking, Andy, on Sunday. He has a car lot, but associated with the car lot is automotive repair. And he's having a devil of a time trying to find a good mechanic. So that may be something this program may want to address down the road in terms of, automotive repair.
Sure.
And not necessarily diesel or big trucks, but just cars, vehicles.
Yeah, there's a tremendous opportunity that we went through a generation where everybody thought their kids had to go to college. And what we're finding in most schools, it's, half of them go to college, and half of those don't make it through the first year before they're coming back home. They don't know what they want to do. And even those who do go, graduate, and still don't really know what they want to do. So there are other opportunities out there. People have gotten away from their kids working with their hands, or like I say, getting into some of the trades, the apprenticeships, and some of these other types of jobs, or some of these jobs that you can go to an Ivy Tech or a Purdue Northwest and really get 1-year or 2-year type degrees or training for a lot of various jobs. And there's a lot of opportunities for employment with that. So I think we're really on the right track. We're really doing something cool there. The school's all on board, which is always a difficult thing. If you talk to other communities that can't get their schools to get on board, Portage is on board and understands how these programs work. And so we've been really successful. So I'm excited about that. I'm really proud of what we've been able to do there. Great. Anybody have any questions for me about anything?
So my usual question, Andy, what's happening with Lowe's and Sears and I know we got Steak and Shake now, we got Nuevo Vista. You said, is that company coming into Nuevo Vista? It looks like it's still empty there, so.
Yeah, so these things are slow going. Lowe's has been difficult. They didn't put it on the market like you normally would. They did it with sealed bids.
Okay.
I spoke to them a week ago. They weren't ready to disclose any information that came out of those sealed bids yet. You know, and so I just keep calling and saying, how can we help? What can we do?
So they did get bids?
They
They
did
got
get
offers?
bids, they did get bids.
So that's a
But
start.
I don't know, were the bids acceptable to
Right,
them or
right,
not?
right,
It's
yeah.
hard to say,
So
they're
they
not
have to
saying yet.
accept
It's hard when you're dealing with corporate people
Mhm.
out on the East Coast. The same with Sears. Sears isn't ready to disclose what they're doing. Heard some rumor that only half the store's closing now. They may keep the appliance part, the outlet part, and close the tool part. So I don't think they really know exactly what they're, but it's not, again, until it goes on the market. And we did have somebody interested in it already, but then they kind of backed out of it just because they wanted to move fast.
Okay.
So that's a good space, it's 30,000 square feet, that's a lot easier to move than the 120,000 square foot of Lowe's.
Yeah,
So Sears, I don't think will remain empty really long. Obviously, you know, we felt the same way about the harbor, which is good because that's being filled. So Steak and Shake is you know, they're closed all those stores, they're offering some incredible franchise opportunity to people. My understanding is there's somebody who's taken up that one, so that one should be reopening as a Steak and Shake again, as a franchise as opposed to a corporate.
I noticed Sears now, you can buy craftsman tools at Lowe's. You can buy it at Ace, so apparently they're trying to go in a different direction with their brand of tools.
Yeah, Sears has been in trouble for a long time. It's quite honestly, we were fortunate that store didn't close several years ago, a lot of the others. But I'll tell you, go to Menards on a Saturday right now, there's a need for another store over there.
yes.
You can't get in their parking lot, and it takes you forever to get through the checkout lines. They're so busy because of Lowe's closing, so.
Well, it's even helped our local Ace.
Oh.
They're very busy.
Yeah, it has. 'Cause
They're
people now
doing
going
great.
to all those customers, they're not
Yes,
doing what Lowe's thought, they're not traveling to Maryville or Michigan
Yeah.
City to go to Lowe's, they're just going to another store here,
What
which is good for those stores.
yeah.
What happened on,
The old Chase Bank on Central.
It's for sale, it's an odd piece of property, it's a bank, they won't sell to another bank, we had one that was interested, very interested,
Really?
but they have contracts that
Chase Bank.
non-competes with their realtors,
Yeah.
that they can't sell to another bank, so hopefully at some point they will. But it's just an odd piece, it's a good location, but it's just an odd building, it's a bank building. So,
And if you,
as we get people come in and asking for stuff, we're showing them, we're steering them to everything that we can, for sure.
and if you could talk a little bit about Bark, I think Councilperson Lynch asked about Bark.
General Motors dealership? I thought Subaru was gonna move in there.
Subaru is moving in.
Is it moving in?
Yes, it is, it's Castle Street.
Good.
What was your question about the old pizza?
Yes.
Okay, to read it right, oh yeah.
Yes, Bark.
So Mark, that's the same owner that owns Big Time Burgers and Brews. If you've been to Big Time Burgers and Brews, they're extremely busy. They're
Very
doing a
good.
wonderful job. They're bringing something to Portage that we've all clamored for a long time. It's been so busy that he hasn't had a chance to,
Okay,
that should have been opened a month ago, but they're still on it. The equipment's it's sitting in the building, the smoker. So I talked to Roland the other day when I was in there, and he's got a different little plan. He wants to move the smoker outside now, so he's gonna come in, we're gonna talk about what it's gonna take to do that, but it's in progress. It's just that the other one's been so successful
oh,
that
yeah,
he
it's
can't
great.
leave, so, which is a good thing.
I have asked Andy also to put together a group of employers to talk about the future of employee needs in throughout Portage and Portage Township. So we should be doing that, I think, next week.
That's on the 18th.
18th.
It's the 18th, right now we've got 10 committed. Yep. And we'll have some more coming, so we reached out to some of the partners that we have through Portage EDC and some other businesses, and asked with our HR people or some of them to come in and kind of a workforce roundtable to talk about some of the challenges and what can we do to help with that workforce as a city, and make sure that we all have a really good understanding and maybe share some ideas among some different industries. So it'll be a really good event, and that'll be a meeting.
And then the second task is we are partnering with the Northwest Indiana Forum to attract companies and businesses from Illinois to Portage and the surrounding area, because corporate tax along with gasoline tax goes up in Illinois July 1st. So we're going to hit them pretty hard right after July 1st.
We're gonna see a flood again. of companies wanting to leave Illinois.
So we put that,
Then they just raise their gas
We've
taxes
seen a lot of that.
times 4 or some
so
crazy.
we put that task force together as well with the forum, and we're moving forward with
And
that.
it's something the forum has been doing already somewhat, but we really haven't, other than me, my participation in what they call LEDO, which is the local economic development group that meets to talk about those issues, haven't really been, as a city, really involved with the forum. So I brought Heather in, met with the mayor and I, and we talked about it and how we can get more involved in that attraction. Portage is the ideal location. A lot of those companies don't really want to come any further than I-65, but when they looked at maybe 5 miles further, Portage, and they see Ameriplex, they see what we've got going on, they're willing to make that extra step, which is why we've been able to fill Ameriplex up
Yeah,
like we have. We're a prime location for that, and the forum will be a big help with us partnering with them.
And we have 48 acres left of buildable property that that RDC owns.
Yes,
That's available as well.
so we'll be marketing all of it. We are marketing.
Yes,
Nice.
they will be for sale soon.
Yes. Anything else?
Everybody will know they're for sale.
You've been a busy guy, Andy.
Well,
Andy,
busy's
thank you.
fun, busy's good.
That's right.
Good job. Good job, Andy.
Good job, sir. Superintendent Jenny Orthburn of the Parks.
All right, good evening.
Hi.
I think you can kind of tell we're busy. We've got a lot going on in the building tonight, as well as out front. So we are kicking off our busy season. Every Tuesday night downstairs, we'll be having our music in the park. We also have a cruise night. And then every Friday night, we'll be having our music, movies, and market down at Founders. We still are looking for sponsors for our movies, but we're gonna go ahead and have a movie every Friday night down at Founders. Our first one kicks off Friday, June 7th. We'll also have bands playing before the movie. Also at Founders, we'll have 4 festivals from Portage Live Entertainment. They just held their first one. It was actually really successful.
It was.
Yeah, so congratulations to them, and we look forward to the next few, July 7th, August 4th, and September 2nd. And then we'll also be hosting the 4th of July Festival down at Founders and then other festivals as well. So we're very, very busy. Other than taking care of all of our beautiful parks and closing out spring soccer and adult volleyball, our softball season will be pushed all along into summer as we've been dealing with some field maintenance issues and having our adult softball out there. And then lastly, I wanted to remind everyone out at Portage Lakefront and Riverwalk, beach access is still closed off. So I do want to remind everyone that we do have another beach in the city of Portage and in the national park, and that's West Beach. So please fill your carload and head on over to West Beach. It's $6 a car. There actually are discounts for lifetime passes and veterans. So go over there. There's a lifeguarded beach, plenty of parking. You're still in the city of Portage. You're still in a national park, and you still can enjoy the summer season while we continue to work on the complex issue of Portage Lakefront Riverwalk. So again, please let everyone know there's still beach access. Is just not at Portage Lakefront right now until it gets resolved. Any other questions?
So I would like to give an update. Maybe Jenny can stay up and help us. We have been in consultation with the governor's office once this week. Rebecca from the governor's office is putting together all 6 entities that have either caused beach erosion or is beach erosion. That would be NIPSCO, the Port of Indiana, ArcelorMittal, US Steel, ourselves, and Ogden Dunes. She's going to put all those people together in a room. That's some progress. So we get, the 6 of us will partner together is our goal to get sand on the beach this year. There's probably about 150,000 square feet of, is that right? Of sand. Cubic square foot of sand that's going to be moved out of the port and dropped in front of Ogden Dunes. That's our idea to get that on the beach. So U.S. Senator Todd Young and I was just telling Chris, we've spoke numerous times via cell phone. It's kind of nice to have the U.S. Senator's cell phone number, but we are talking diligently with the U.S. Senator as well to prod the state along a little bit, and we believe that's what's caused Rebecca to get a hold of us here and get us all in the room to make some progress. So it's moving. Can't promise anything, but we've been down this road a couple other times, and then it kind of went to a screeching halt. So at least we are working at it. And Jenny's been a big part, as well as Colin and John Hannon as well with engineer ideas and things. So that's great. So keep up the good work and keep us informed.
Real quick, on West Beach, do they have Portage resident days where it's free?
No, we
Okay.
did that for a couple of years. The Parks Department covered the entry fees for Portage residents. We're unable to continue to do that. Plus, it's not just us, it's also on the Park Service side as well. So they're not able to do that because it is a national park, it's a nation's park. However, they are looking at modifying their fee for the future, maybe possibly even getting rid of it. So that would be a really nice bonus for us to just be able to go to West Beach for free. But again, those fees pay for lifeguards. So it's a very specific fee. So again, you're in a safe swimming beach area. So I encourage families to go there.
That has plenty of sand.
Plenty of
There's
sand,
a lot of
plenty of
beach there, a lot of parking.
Are we noticing any erosion at West Beach at all? Has it?
Not as nearly as it's, they're not in the same situation as the other ones, they're the structures and things, so. They get the sand that goes around and then it ends there, so.
They get what we dump out in front of Ogden Dunes, or, well, the port does.
Falls under front door.
Right?
Thank you, Jenny.
Thank you.
Good job. Steve or Randy, whoever is here to speak for streets and sanitation. Superintendent Tim.
We'll start on Wednesday, so. We're mowing all over, every place we can, we're running crews every day, we've got everything but our roadside mower running, we received our parts for that today, and that'll be back on the road tomorrow. That's the mower that keeps the stuff along the roads trimmed up, if we're kind of losing ground there, but, we still have a lot of areas in the parks, in some of our breezeways, I think over here, I just noticed coming in at Portage Avenue and Willow, we've got a little swale that sits in there with the trees. It might be 3 weeks before we can get in there, it's still wet and underwater. We're experiencing that in a lot of the parks. Our mosquito abatement has started. So far, we treated about 2,200 basins. We've got about 1,000 more basins to put our biscuits in. I call them biscuits. Last 6 months, they go in to kill the mosquitoes in our retention ponds in our basements. We'll be completing that, continuing with our abatement program throughout the summer. Tomorrow is the grand opening for our compost site, partnership with Porter County. At noon at our compost site, the compost site will be officially open for Porter County residents to bring leaves and limbs to only. We won't accept any grass products at there or garbage at the site. And that's because of our partnership with Porter County Solid Waste Board, who helps us with some of our costs for grinding of limbs and stuff every year. So that's what's going on over there. I got no reports on the call in, but we get a bunch.
Free compost. Free compost.
We'll still have free compost stopped down. I think I can honestly say, as I work with Grass Bunker myself today, it's one of the busiest places in Portage. Everybody's mowing grass like crazy and hauling grass down there. And we're hauling it by the truckloads out to the north end every day. It's just coming in. So those of you that are mowing grass like I'm mowing grass, they know it's crazy. It's growing. And I don't see the pattern changing for a little while. We still got some wet weather and some more. We do. Some more mowing to do. So we do. Yeah, I know. Question?
I do.
Yeah.
About the mosquito spray, are we gonna do that, spray?
We will continue our abatement program throughout the summer, yes.
So have you started that yet, the spray?
No,
Oh,
that's come, that part of our abatement program will continue. Right now, it's all about getting these pellets into the standing water areas. That's where they start. We should complete that even this week. We should be done with all the catch basins, all the retention, or they could be detention ponds.
I just didn't know how far apart
We
you
get
did the
whole
two.
water all year, I always get confused, retention, detention. But the ones that have standing water, we treat those ponds. We treat every single one of our storm basins, get mosquito pellets put in them. And then hang on. I mean, I've been in my
That's very
backyard,
vicious.
it's like these little things are swarming like crazy. I hope they're not mosquitoes, but we're gonna be covered up here pretty soon. So
That's
we're
why I was
out, we're
asking.
out full force on doing all we can to keep these mosquitoes knocked down. So,
Steve, I noticed that going down the streets on Amnesty, the people put bags of grass out there. Does that get picked up?
we instruct our guys, we do not pick up grass on the sides of the road. That is up to the citizen to bring them to the street department. We will not pick up your toter if we see grass in your toter. Do not put grass in your toter, do not leave it on the side of the road. There's an ordinance in the city, we do not pick up grass. You can take it down to the street department and put it in the grass bucket.
I see they're putting it out there though, so I was worried. I
You know,
wondered,
and here's the issue is it ends up with thousands and thousands of pounds or tons that we pay for to go to a landfill. That's why the ordinance is there. Please do not put grass clippings in your garbage because all of us citizens that don't put them in our garbage are paying for that at the landfill. So we enforce that. If we see grass clippings in your toter, we will not pick it up.
I think Randy taught me it's 80% water in a bag.
and Steve, I noticed that you now have a thing so that if, like, somebody like myself that wanted to bring grass clippings, we have to get some kind of a permit?
We are working on a yard pass program to
Right.
expedite the process of checking in, monitoring that it is our citizens of Portage that use our facility. We're tightening the reins a little.
Good.
For those that shouldn't be using it, at the same time making it easier for those that come every day, that all they have to do is hold up their yard pass and they can drive.
So do they go in, where do they go in to get that?
We've actually, one of our girls sat out on the island 2 days this week, and as they pulled in, we were signing them up at the curb. So as you come in, we're signing you up, giving you your pass right then and there. And, we're baby stepping into this. We won't go into full effect till the end of July. We're kind of starting to get some passes out. We're doing some education. We're gonna monitor that us citizens that pay for that services are paying for the rest of our citizens. That's the way it should be.
Done right.
Anybody else? Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Steve.
All right, did I miss anybody? I don't believe I did. Reports from city officials. I'm sorry, we just did that. Reports from standing committees, apologize.
We have to reschedule our budget meeting. That will happen no later than Friday. We'll have some options and times and I'll notify the council of that date in your office.
So June 1st was a self-imposed deadline by myself to get that to you. And June 1st, you did schedule a meeting at 5 p.m. on a Friday night. I would kind of appreciate we wouldn't do them on Friday nights at 5 o'clock.
I'm gonna look at that very closely, Mayor.
And then it was canceled at 4:35, I believe. So the budget is ready for you, Mr. Chairman.
All right?
And it'll be turned over to your committee as it was supposed to be on June 1st. So we'll wait till your next meeting now. Okay, so let us please know when that is.
We'll do
Any
that.
other standing committee reports?
I just want to report that the household hazardous waste collection for Portage will be on June 15th at Portage High School. So I think that starts at 9 o'clock in the morning. I'm not exactly sure. I was trying to look it up. So we're going to have 2 collections in Portage this year. I think maybe the second one will be in August. But it's very well organized. You're not going to be stuck there all day. We've got that down to a science, so.
Giving out the gas cans is what they were giving out last time, right?
I don't think they're doing gas cans now. No.
That was 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock, yeah, 9 to 12 at this point. Any other standing committee reports? All right.
No latex paint.
Correct, let that
We're
dry.
not taking any latex paint anymore.
Place to take it home.
Right.
Introduction of ordinances. I don't believe we have any.
We don't have any.
Amen. Less laws, the better. It's a good thing. Introduction of resolutions, May temporary interfund loans.
So Mark, do you want to read that?
A resolution authorizing temporary interfund loans. Whereas the following temporary interfund loans are necessary for the purpose of maintaining cash operating balances in the funds herein named. Now therefore be it resolved by the Common Council of the City of Portage, Indiana, that the clerk treasurer is hereby authorized to make the following temporary loans. Such loans to be secured by a pledge of revenues to be received which are not otherwise allocated and to be repaid on or before December 31st, 2019. Date 5/30/2019 general from Eden, amount $525,000. Date 5/30/2019 to EMP from 2008 TIF, $250,000. Date 5/30/2019 to fire pension from 2013 TIF, $50,000, passed and adopted by the Common Council of the City of Portage, Porter County, Indiana, this 4th day of June 2019. I'll make a motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? Please call roll.
Councilperson Modesto.
Yes.
Councilperson Cliff.
Yes.
Councilperson Bennett.
Yes.
Councilperson Becky.
Yes.
Councilperson Zilli.
Yes.
Councilperson Prisco.
Yes.
Councilperson Lynch.
Yes.
Any unfinished business? See none. Any new business? I would like to announce two things. We've identified on the sanitary, since the council was members of the USB, I think it's good for me to give an update from the sanitary board as well as the storm water board. We'll put that somewhere here in the agenda. I thought this would be a good place to throw it in right now. The stormwater erosion plan to do 5 extreme erosion difficulties in Willow Creek will go forward. The estimated cost of that is just under $250,000. We'll be moving between the two boards that amount of money from slip lining into the erosion plan. We'd like to keep this going for the next 5 years and put that in the budget to stop erosion. We have 5 locations right now. 3 of them have structures that will probably be in Willow Creek. So that is an emergency situation, and that's on board from the stormwater. And on the sanitary side, we have identified that when it rains 4 inches in a day, the sanitary plant goes from about 3.5 million gallons of water a day to about 21.5 million gallons of water. So we're taking on fresh water somewhere into our sanitary system. We identified today of the difficulty and what the problem is, and that will probably take up our slip lining cost. What's left to fix the Swanson interceptor is what we're taking on that water at after reviewing, and we are going to camera it just to make sure, but we think that's the Swanson Road interceptor from Route 6 to all the way to the plant, and everything feeds into that. And there's another lateral that comes off of that and goes down Old Porter Road as well that is next to look at. So we have to stop that amount of fresh water going in, or clean water going into our sanitary, because unfortunately, as our attorney said, he has to fill out forms all the time, and I have to sign them as well as Don. We have to bypass sometimes when we have that amount of money. So sometimes we have to dump directly into Lake Michigan. Trying to be upfront and be honest with everyone, so it's going to cost us some money to get that to stop and to at least slow down. So we're in a dry period. We're back to our 3.5 million, but whenever it rains, we're up to that 15 to 22 million gallons. So just wanted to update
What's
you.
the capacity of the plant?
I can't answer that directly. I believe it's 10 million.
I
And
was
then
thinking
we
of
have to
somewhere around
bypass.
10.
Yeah, so we have to bypass. So,
Will we be able, do we think that is the one area where we'll be
No.
able to solve this problem? No?
No, the interceptor down Old Port will be looked at as well. So that, just real quick, we have 8 feet concrete pipe that are 60 inches around. You can almost walk in them. They've been there since the late 70s. And they have holes in the top to drop the pipe in with the crane. So those holes would normally get patched when it's put, and that patch has broken through time because the road's over the top. We pounded it down, so when the water goes, it goes right down those. So it's like having a 16 foot hole sucking water in if you add all those up for every 8-foot section throughout the city. And there's also a gasket that hooks those pipes together, also sucking water in. So just one of those things. When you get 40 to 50 years old, you know, Pat, we start getting a little tricky.
I'm almost there.
Okay. So I just want to give you an update on that. So anything else on a new business? Anyone? Notice to taxpayers, additional appropriation number 1.
And that's the only one there, we don't have various transfers from
I'll
three.
make a motion for the clerk to go ahead with the times, tentative times for next month's meeting.
Notice to taxpayers, the proposal of additional appropriation.
Liz seconded it.
Okay. Maybe we want to explain that, read that or explain that to somebody.
To notice to taxpayers that at next month's meeting the council will entertain a motion to appropriate $250,000 in the cable TV fund for IT services, yeah.
So just explain that cable franchise fees for the folks, if you would.
Our cable TV franchise fund is a fund that was established in the late 70s, since we're talking about the late 70s, when every community started getting cable franchises. Back then, it was really community by community. Everyone had their own individual company. And they had to pay the city a fee per subscriber to use the public right-of-way to run their cable lines for a private business. That fee remains. It's now everyone just has the one cable company, Comcast, Xfinity. So on there, you have a little franchise fee that Comcast collects and then remits it to us. We collect about $360,000 a year off of that, and that essentially is what we call it. I was having this conversation with Scott. Our rainy day fund is our cable TV fund. We typically don't spend too much out of there, but we use it for cash flow purposes to be sure we're able to operate throughout the year. And so we'll be entertaining a motion to spend some of that money at the next meeting, July meeting.
And that money keeps coming in every month from?
It comes in twice. I think we get it twice a year, but 360 a year.
So we had a motion and a second to open or to notice the taxpayers. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those against? Alrighty, so various transfers number 3 are off.
Yeah, I put it on there, didn't know if we were going to, so we don't have.
Receptions of remonstrances, public input, and any other business to be brought before the council. Yes, ma'am. Please state your name and your address if you'd like for us, please.
My name is Linda Rollins. My address is 642 Old Porch Road. I've been here several times addressing the council and asking the council to get involved with what's going on with being patients. I've been to the mayor's office 3 times now. They took my information, told me that a girl by the name of Melissa, I think was her name, somebody would call me and set up an appointment with me, the mayor, and the chief of police.
That was Amanda.
Okay, but nobody's called me.
Okay.
And this isn't going away. Pain patients are taxpayers just like everybody else. I would like somebody in this committee to get involved and help me start pulling people together, because, I mean, the HHS task force just said that what's happening, the CDC guidelines was rescinded, it was wrong. So now our legislators have to get on board and start getting the DEA and the Department of Justice out from between the doctors and the patients, because they should have never got involved in the first place. We're losing a lot of good doctors. I don't know if anybody's ever noticed that, We're losing good doctors. They're going to jail. They're shutting down because they're afraid to treat their patients. And this is wrong. Somebody can do something about that. And I have one thing I need to say with Mark. When people look back at these videos, these live feeds here, pain patients look for somebody to show some interest. And it keeps coming back to me all the time that Mark rolls his eyes, points at everybody. You don't show any interest. And it may not mean anything to you, but it means the world to me.
It's a lot to me, to be honest with you. You know,
Well,
I mean,
then
but
why
what
is
do you
it
want us
nobody
to do? I know
responds
you've
to
been in the mayor's office 3 times. Maybe we should get a hold of the state, the federal government, and do something on the city council.
My friend
Senator.
died March 10th. Dawn Anderson, he died. We came here begging this council. People are gonna continue to die. And it's not right.
What we need to do is look into what we can as a council do, whether it's get involved with legislation, and the mayor needs to look into it. I think our attorney needs to look into it too, to see exactly what we can do.
Write a resolution is all we can do.
Well, and I will participate in anything and everything. I will do anything. If you would form a committee or do something, I'm not afraid to kick doors. I just went to a meeting a couple months ago, maybe last month, because I've been trying to talk to Senator Mike Braun. I paid $20 to go have lunch, and I was totally, it was like, well, you know the answers, because you seem to keep popping up all over the place. He's our legislator. I do know a lot of the answers, but I need help. Because I don't want to see people continue to die. It affects me. I have to have surgery again in July. I don't know, they just keep wanting to do surgery and keep wanting to do surgery. And it's not right. And I just want somebody just one time to call me and say, Linda, we're on board and we want to help. That's all I want.
Maybe we need to, maybe John, you can look into putting a committee together with the county along with some other municipalities, police chiefs.
We're going to meet. Christina is going to actually speak with you after the meeting. Okay, so stick around and talk to Christina. We'll get you for a meeting. In the meantime, we'll try to get some other folks at that meeting. You may have to give us a week. Okay.
Thank you.
And we'll have obviously have police chief there, and we'll try to get somebody from the county health department as well. Fair enough. Is that good? Troy had to leave.
The sheriff, someone from the sheriff's office.
Yeah, I think we need to go to law enforcement people. We don't have a lot of enforcement. I think we need to look at who are those people that can help us. I had a meeting with Congressman Klasky the other day, and that was one of the things I talked to him about. Because I think there's people that are higher up that we need to be reaching out to. I think this level is like the bottom, but we have to go a little bit higher because I don't think we're getting any response at the lower level. I think talking to our chief of police, talking to Sheriff Reynolds, I understand. I have people who are in pain that I know, and they can't get the medication. But I don't think myself can get that done. I did talk to Pete about it, but I think that we have to go through the law enforcement because they're arresting doctors, I know.
I know that Mark Lopez wants to get on board too.
Okay.
I've talked to him. He actually joined my group on Facebook.
Okay.
But, Dawn went to her grave fighting for this.
I know.
I can't. I have to keep doing this, and I have to keep fighting because, like I said, we just lost another veteran the other day that literally committed suicide. This is just so wrong. This should not be happening. They went and fought for their life. They gave their lives for us. Now they're back here, and all they're wanting is just to get fair treatment. They're not getting it. It's wrong. It's just not fair. So anything that you would do to help me, I would be eternally.
I think the VA's even cut back. My husband was in the VA, and they have cut back really bad on the veterans, giving them their medications, yeah.
And it's all across the country.
Mhm.
I see that Oregon is moving to get the DEA and the DOJ out from between the patients and their doctors, they're actually starting to fight back. Oklahoma's starting to fight back. I know that Oregon literally has a lawsuit right now to get the DEA off of the inspect program to quit looking at people's medications, because that's what they're doing. They're drumming up these charges over a 90 MME equivalence that was only a recommendation, it was never a law. But now the DEA's jumped on that, and they're filing charges and they're arresting these doctors over a recommendation that was rescinded. And it's wrong, we're losing good doctors.
If I can speak on this for a little bit too. Just a kind of clarification, and I have one of my congregants who is on pain medication. And we actually share the same doctor. And the doctor that we have this year, as a policy, says that she will only give out 3 pain prescriptions a year. The people you need to have at the table is going to be the medical community. The medical community is the one, now, it is a problem. I mean, it's a very large problem that, to a certain extent, the doctors and medical communities have been pushers, or, they've been more indulgent in dealing with people's pain by providing as much medication as they want. That has changed. The new reality of the medical practice, the way the doctors are approaching this, in order to protect their liability, but also in a better understanding of of how addictive these types of pain medicines can be, that doctors are really hesitant. And so I think we need to bring in, we have some very fine healthcare providers in the city, between North Shore Health, access to Porter Regional, as well as St. Mary's Community Health System. I believe that they need to be in that conversation more than, I think, our police force or our sheriff's department. So I hope that you would bring those people to the table so they can give you their perspective, their concerns. They're not, from my dealings with various medical professionals, they're not doing this out of spite, out of meanness, or anything like that. It's just things are changing. And how are we going to, as a city, address these types of problems in this changing environment within our medical community? And I think the medical community needs to be involved in that discussion.
Thank you for your advice, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Good evening. My name is Henry Matthews. I reside at 6253 Summer Shady Drive. Mr. Mayor, I think you've been out to the backs of all the properties over there.
Yes.
We're still having, and I heard you talk about the drainage problem and erosion problems. We're experiencing that in the backs of our homes. We've had this problem for over a year now, and I'm wondering if you or someone from the village has come up with a solution to our situation.
Well, I just announced 5 locations that will be fixed this year. We only have a limited amount of time because of the water levels. You can only do that when the water is a certain level. And going forward, we'll do that for 5 years, 5 different. They cost about $50,000 a piece to fix, and then you just move the erosion down the creek bank.
But I heard you speak of those are main issues on thoroughfares. This is not in the backs of our homes.
No.
Those homes were built, Mr. Mayor, without the proper infrastructure. And I assure that when the developer was there putting that infrastructure in, he was okay to sell those lots with permission from this village. That infrastructure now is insufficient. And so now we have extreme flooding in the backs of our properties.
Is this hidden waters?
Yes.
This is in Hidden Waters. This isn't on Willow
This is in
Creek.
Hidden Waters.
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry. My plan was talking about erosion along Willow Creek, which all that water would go into. I understand. And I've been there. That's this nice lady right here, and we have a plan for that. Yes, we do. I'm not ready.
The idea of when you're planning on executing that plan, because we would all like to continue with improving our properties, but we're afraid to do anything there, because the minute we do, if we put in anything substantial, and you come through with your plan, and you tear it out at our expense.
You'll be notified when that plan is ready to go. We have to wait for our developer to give us his plan, and then we're going to approve that plan.
Okay, so is there a 10-year time period, or is this going to go for another year?
I would suspect it would be within 1 month.
Okay.
Again, sir, with the 5 inches of rain over 2-day periods that we've been getting, there's no one that'll be able to install in that kind of weather condition. So that's what we're kind of
I understand
waiting
that,
to see
so
how that goes out. That turns
maybe
out.
I'll come back next month and you'll have better answers.
Well, I'm giving you the truth, and the answer is that within 1 month we will have a plan for that.
Are you working with Old Tahoe?
We are. Every morning I pull up, they're in the driveway, or in the parking lot, and they've been called to the carpet for it.
Shouldn't it be going to the stormwater meetings, stormwater board meetings?
Yes, and our stormwater meeting and sanitary meeting are on Thursdays, 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock. Yeah, this Thursday coming up, yep, at City Hall, and you're welcome to come.
Mr. Matthews, do you have sump pumps in your?
Yes, we
are you
all have
taking-
sump pumps, but they run continuously. If you come down Summer Shade Drive, you'll see most of the homes now are literally pumping water into the street to get it to the storm because there were no storms installed in this infrastructure project.
Yeah, there's nothing along the back.
That's correct.
I know.
So I don't understand how this ever got approved, past infrastructure to where this guy can sell lots and start building homes. Where was engineering?
Actually, there should be a moratorium until he fixes it to stop building.
Yes,
Yes.
I agree.
He's on the third phase now, and he's still getting permits.
No,
He's
he
putting
shouldn't be able to
infrastructure
do
in now to sell more homes and more lots.
So
Yet he hasn't done the first 2 phases correctly.
Until you fix ours, shouldn't.
And we're gonna lose our leverage. Once he finishes that third phase, you've got
I
no
think we
leverage
need
with
to have
this
an
guy.
attorney look into doing stopping construction until it's corrected.
Yes, you're absolutely right.
Liz, do they have to come before the plan commission at all?
Not with that, they go before the RDC, or not the RDC, the DRC, and they also go before the stormwater board.
And that would have been the USB at the
And
time.
the city engineer has to approve their plans and also their especially their drainage plans. If there's a major problem out there, he needs to be called in and.
Absolutely, I agree with you.
Because this got approved through the village, through the engineers in the village.
Sir, how old is your home, sir?
My home, I moved in October. So my home is less than a year old.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, our city engineer.
And that's all the homes on Summer Shade and Amanda.
All of them.
And he's moved out of phase 2 into phase 3, and you guys are still giving him permission to move forward.
I think that's something you need to talk over with John Hammond tomorrow and our attorney.
Well, I'm not gonna throw anybody under the bus, but those were approved under the old utility service board that we were all members of. And that information wasn't brought to us.
Yes.
Yeah, that
That
development
was
infrastructure.
approved. That was not approved by us.
I never approved any of that.
I just said that. I said it was not brought before us, and that's something we need to look into. The home is only as old as October, and we were.
That's my home.
Yes, I understand that.
But this has been ongoing. He's into the third phase now, I'm in the second phase.
Yes, I know you
And
are.
this has been ongoing since the first phase.
Yes,
So this is over 3 years old.
You're correct. And all I'm explaining is the history of what has occurred, and we have to get to the bottom of those things. Those things in the history, we're gonna fix it going forward. And that's our plan.
Mr. Mayor, then you are gonna have a plan in a month, because this
Yes.
gentleman, just listening to you, I feel
Yes.
sorry for him.
I
from what I'm
understand.
hearing. And it's sort
Upset about
of,
that.
it's sort of a tragedy, it's a tragedy
It's
to
something-
have that building going on out there for a couple phases and not done correctly. I know if I was sitting in your shoes, I'd be really irate. And thank you for coming in front of us, and we'll do the
Yes.
best we can to get you.
This is our
To
forever.
get you going. No, I'm serious. You did an excellent job bringing your issue to us. And it is.
Yeah, we need to hold all talk feet to the fire on this one.
You know,
I'm sorry, Mark.
Can I just make a comment? I represent the west side of the city where there is no infrastructures. So my residents know, but this is unacceptable for a new development,
It is.
totally unacceptable. We got, 78-year-old homes that don't have infrastructures and this should not be happening right now.
Mr. Mayor, can
Yes.
we have the city engineer at our next council meeting?
Sure.
Because, I mean, we have a new development, it's my district, they're putting in 50 new homes.
Correct.
I mean, they didn't plan phase 1 correctly, phase 2 correctly. I mean, Chris lives in this neighborhood, his sump pump runs all the time.
Correct.
Can we have him at our next meeting to explain in phase 3 why this isn't gonna happen again?
Yes, we will.
I think we need to stop.
I think we need to put a moratorium on it.
And then I have another question for you too, just for that board. I mean, if the people that were building these homes, selling the property and building these homes, they didn't have any money in the game, it's not for us sanitary group, the stormwater to be putting that in and taking our money from all the taxpayers for them not doing their job. Should there be some legal action? Kenny or Greg, take it against these people? I would say yes.
Greg,
Say yes.
Greg, I have a question. Again,
Hold on, he didn't get to answer.
That's okay, it's something you guys could think about, get back to the mayor and that board. But I mean, it's there again, you know, where there's a thing where a developer comes in, sells homes for thousands of dollars, doesn't do things correctly, and the citizens get bit. You know, if we're gonna pick up the bill without them coming to the table and getting clean also. It's not right. Something needs to be
Does
done.
anybody inspect out there while they're building that to see if they're doing it correctly?
Yes.
They have to review the plan, they have to inspect it.
These are
During the
inspectors
construction.
aware of the problem?
So who is not doing that?
Somebody's
The
not-
village engineers. That's your engineers.
We will get to the bottom of this, sir. Sir, we will have a plan for your backyard drains in 1 month.
Be back. And Thursday, what time?
3 o'clock and 4 o'clock. City Hall. Anyone else? Yes, sir, come on up.
Yeah, hi, my name's Ron Pfeiffer, and I live at 5874 Carnation Avenue, right back here in Swanson North. And we have the same problems. We've had the problems for years. My neighbors have spent thousands of dollars, and I mean, we've got pictures. His phone company went off since March, it's been on. And it's going right to the street. And I think they've got a plan for Thursday to go to the street department and Chuck and Vicky Mason, I'm not sure, for a drainage for the woods to go to the ditch, but that ditch needs to be dredged. I mean, when the pipeline back there, they have whoever comes and cuts the trees down and keep the pipeline, they dropped it all in the ditch. And that ditch is, my pipe is in mud, it ain't above the water. I mean, it's been going for years, and they've spent, I don't know how many thousands. And so we want to get the ditch dredged and get it fixed, so we don't have to, I mean, everybody's spending lots of money. And we've got pictures, it's every year. It's 10 years ago, they probably started. Before that, the first 10 years, I lived there 20 years. For 10 years, we didn't have no problems. And then after they cut that into the ditch a couple times, and I think the water level's probably risen, so. Sure. But the last 10 years, it's.
Steve, you take care of that dredging and pumps?
No, that's field forces.
Well, when I call the city, they say, well, that's park department. When I call the park department, the city. And yeah, that's the way it's been.
What's your name and address again?
Ron Pfeiffer, 5874 Carnation Avenue. Just right back here.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm right
Pat, that's over by Chuck and Vicky Mason's house.
Yeah, I live 2 doors down from Chuck and
here.
Vicky.
And I've also got.
And the
my
lady
other
that
neighbors.
lives between us, she's not there right now due to medical leave. Her house is actually flooded, like her basement is completely flooded.
Because there's no one there.
Because there's nobody there and the water is literally up to the houses. I've got bricks this tall in the back, the water's past the bricks.
Well, and we're getting calls now from the neighbors that are up the street.
Yeah, up the street.
That have never had no problems, and they're for the first time flooded too. So it's just getting worse and worse, and I've complained about it before, and I think they just thought, well, that's that guy calling again. But it's bad, and like I said, my neighbors, I know Stan's probably spent $10,000–15,000 on stuff, and we put drains in his front yard, and he's done the crawl space and everything else, and it's just.
Stan, what's your address, sir?
2219 Lily Street.
Lily?
Lily.
Stan, what's your last
Yeah,
name?
it's been that whole corner, but it's been.
Your last name?
And I live on Gardenia, which is where the flooding's going more down.
What's that address, ma'am?
5883 Gardenia.
5883? And your name?
Lisa,
One more time.
Mello, M-E-L-L-O. Yeah, I've been there 10 years and the flooding's been like that since I started.
Yeah, like I said, first 10, I've been probably 20 years, and there was no problems for 10 years, but like I said, they took all them trees, when they cut for that pipeline, it all went in that ditch. And I complained and called about it then, nobody,
So we got a major beaver dam back there, basically.
We will be on it by Friday. I'm gonna come out and look Friday, okay? No, we'll be out, I'll be out Friday. I'll be out Friday.
All right, thank you.
Chuck and Vicky have sent me videos.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah, I think they got, they're going to Thursday, and we'll go too, because they had something going behind their house, they was gonna run, I think, to the drainage ditch. But
Right.
I think the drainage ditch is the part of the problem.
It's not-
It's in the mud.
It's not the street department. Come to the stormwater board.
Stormwater board.
Stormwater board at 3 o'clock on
They
Thursday.
said Thursday,
City Hall.
3 o'clock.
Yeah, City Hall.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I like that, Darrell.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Come on up, sir.
I'll see if I can meet you out there Friday, Mayor.
Okay, I will.
I'll try to call you.
My name's Donald Kavner. My address is 1957 Jefferson Street. I have a camper, and I like your guys' rules about it has to be behind the house or behind the garage. It's not a problem with me. Even though my camper don't fit behind the house or beside the garage, I take it to storage for the wintertime. I bring my camper home. In less than 24 hours, I get a $200 ticket attached to it. Okay, I went camping. I come home again, unloaded, another ticket. Can't we keep the practice that you have now, but can't we like, from this date to this date, it could be in the driveway as long as it's behind the sidewalk and I'm not obstructing anything up front of the sidewalk.
How long was
it
it
is.
sitting there?
You're talking
Well,
about the
you had it
camping
unloaded.
season, right, from the beginning of
Yeah,
camping
like
to
the
the
camping
end. I
season, you
agree.
know, because we go every couple weeks. I try to go with my kids. You know, I work at the mill. I work swing shift. I don't have a chance to go just on the weekend or, you know, my off day is today. You know what I mean? So, me being able to go get it out of there and then go set it up, I got 24 hours. If it was already there, it was a lot easier for me to just get it and go.
We need to look into ordinance because I thought we put it
I
in there.
thought we did
It
too.
was seasonal from like
Well, I know with the
September.
boats we did, but I don't.
It's not in there for the campers.
Okay.
So here's my question to you. I mean, do you ever call code enforcement and say, look, I'm bringing my camper and?
I didn't know I had to until I got a ticket. When I got a ticket, I called the gentleman.
Okay.
And then he said, I will get back to you Monday morning. Well, I went up there and talked to him face to face.
Okay.
And he told me, as long as it's out in 72 hours. Okay, but on your code, nothing says about 72 hours. Yeah, you have, period, nothing on there about it. Okay, and I explained that to the code enforcement guy. He's like, well, you know, technically I can give you, you gotta pay it right now. I'm gonna give you the 72 hours. Okay, which is fine, but you should have it in writing, because I don't know that I have 72 hours. You know what I mean? Like, you're just trying to help me out, which is great.
Yeah.
But, you know, you need to start, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, sure.
I would just think it'd be a lot nicer to have it between such and such dates today.
So we're going to review the ordinance and we're going to put in the ordinance. If council is okay with it, we'll have city attorney put in the same provision as for the boats in the ordinance for campers. Fair enough? Now, what's the status on your tickets?
He got rid of them for me because I took it away and, you know, it's costing me $500 a month now, so, yeah, I'm not happy. But
Well, can I have your name and phone number, please?
Donald Kavner, 219-242-9611.
You live on Jefferson?
Yes, 1957 Jefferson Street.
So you have to pay how much a month?
$500.
Bring the trailer back to your driveway and I will inform code enforcement not to.
Why do you have to pay 500? That's.
Because that's my reason.
I was trying to help the gentleman. And I will make sure code enforcement doesn't bother you anymore until we get this ordinance fixed. Fair enough? $500 is ridiculous. Okay? Fair enough? Okay? Thank you. Anyone else like to have something brought before the council? Christine, will you get these folks information?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor of a motion to adjourn?
Aye.